Is there any truth though to this idea I mentioned at the beginning that like there's this small group of hedge funds that produce most of the alpha and that they're like consistent over time? Is there any truth to that at all, or is it really, it changes a lot over time?
It changes a ton over time. And I think that's one of the things, like the outperformance persistence is it just doesn't really exist in the hedge fund industry. And I think a lot of times people will look back, and there's good reason actually there's good reason to believe, fundamental reason to believe why there shouldn't be outperformance persistence in the hedge fund industry. And the primary reason why that is because if you outperform as a hedge fund, then you will typically gain assets, right? And as you gain assets, you will typically not be able to engage in either as much diversification of your portfolio of views. Plus, you will also start to incur increasing transactions costs. And that's one of the key questions here, which is, transactions costs are certain, alpha is uncertain, right? Transaction costs, you pay them, right? Like you will pay transactions costs, right? So that's why I say they're certain in terms of having to pay them. Versus your ability to generate alpha over time is quite uncertain. And given that fact, what happens is as money flows to these managers that are likely to be more skilled, right, because they've demonstrated outperformance, on a forward-looking basis, that flow starts to decay their alpha generation ability. And so you have but the issue is that there's a lot of randomness in that, right? When exactly does that decay happen? And there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of when that decay happens. And so you kind of look at it and you say, well, the fundamental reasons for why I would expect there to be decay exist. There's also this randomness because, any one manager can get things right. They can get things wrong. Who knows? The managers that have done well might just have gotten lucky, right? You don't know. There's always got to be a top 1% manager, right? If you have 3,000 hedge funds, 30 have to be great, right? There's just randomness to it, right? And so because of these 2 points, because of the fundamental point and the uncertainty about what's generating the returns, the idea that you're going to be able to pick on a forward-looking basis is it's highly uncertain. It's highly uncertain. So what I'd say is have the humility to recognize that the benefits of diversification are relatively well known and your ability to pick is extremely uncertain. And given that trade-off, pick diversification.